Really excited to get started, and I know you were putting together a checklist for me. Did you get that together?
I sure did. So just to recap what we talked about last time, we talked about how you wanted to use Adobe Spark as like digital storytelling for your kids in order to recap what they've learned in social studies. And I kind of detailed it as maybe like a weekly vlog for social studies, like a video log of something that they've learned or something, a prompt that you want them to respond to. And before I go into the checklist, I'm just going to kind of explain it so you can understand where I'm coming from and why I put each thing on the checklist.
Okay.
So the first thing that I talked about is that you should model how to record yourself and add activities to Adobe Spark so that the kids can get an idea and see it actually happening. And then we're going to set a time to implement it. How often do you want it to happen? When do you want to start? And, you know, what's comfortable for you.
Okay.
So on the
And with that, so can we, like when we make the schedule, can we make it a little, like scaffold it where it's a little bit further out in the beginning and then it gets, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not doing so
almost
much
maybe
at first.
even like a gradual release. Like I do, maybe we do, and then you do type of thing. And you get to set the parameters for how often you want it to happen in your classroom.
Okay.
So on the checklist, I put them, and it's kind of just like a step-by-step as you go to teach this lesson. Where do you want to start? Where do you want to end? And all of the in-between.
Okay.
So first I said you should show them an example. So maybe even getting on yourself and creating something for yourself just to have a visual for them to connect what they're going to be doing to what you've already done.
And to make sure I know how to use this before
Make sure that you know how to use it first. And I'll help with all of that. Then I would pass out the rubric and then discuss the elements that are on the rubric, what it actually looks like, so that they get a clear understanding of this is what's being asked of me and this is the level of which I need to present it. Then I would let them do maybe like a quick try is what I called it, and it's where they create something that's related to them. It doesn't have to be content or curriculum related. It can be if they love football, if they love ballet, or whatever it is. Something quick that they can create just to get a feel for, oh, if I click this button then this happens, or oh, I can add music, or oh, I can do this.
Exploratory.
Right, they can explore it on their own without it having to be for a grade just yet.
Okay.
Next, I would set the expectations for rotations because I remember you talked to me about how you wanted this to maybe be a center that they got to do, like for reading. So set the expectation of when do you need to start? What does that work time look like? And when you're done, how do you submit it? Or if you're not done, what do you do to save it?
Okay.
And then I would end each day with kind of like a hot seat check. So I would choose one of the students in class that's been through that rotation. Okay, so you so-and-so, let's see what your video log was for today, or you so-and-so, like who wants to share what they did on their video log today, just to kind of wrap it up and even give the other kids an opportunity to see student work in action. So what are we thinking?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've gone over the checklist, do you have anything that you would like to change about, or anything you want to add, any questions?
I liked the layout of the checklist. I thought it was a nice scaffolding for me to learn how to implement the lesson. The only thing is I'm hoping before we actually do this project, because you had already modeled for me, like you showed me on the computer how to make the Adobe Spark. We've already kind of gone through all that. So now that you've modeled for me, I'd like to make an exemplar, almost like you taught me. Now let me show you my product before I then go and teach the kids. So before even doing this lesson and showing the kids, I'd like to go and make an example and almost have you grade it like as the teacher.
Got it. So the first step, instead of show an example of the project, is going to be create an example of the project. Do you want that to be social studies related, or are you just going to do something that's personal to you?
I think I'll just do something personal, because then the example I show can be like my example. Gotcha. And then the kids could relate to it and maybe hopefully enjoy it because they're learning about me.
Okay.
So almost like the same lesson that I'm going to do, I personally am going to be the student doing it home first, and you would kind of coach me on that.
Gotcha. Okay. So that kind of goes into that modeling format that you want to do. Okay, so you're saying kind of the modeling approach that you want to go with is that after I modeled it for you the other day, that you kind of want to turn back around, model it for me before you do it with the students? Okay, so we have the checklist for that. Okay. So since I modeled this lesson for you the other day, do you want to maybe take a look at it and kind of troubleshoot some things that you think may arise, or do you have any questions?
Well, I did kind of look at it, and I had a question. So I knew how to start a new Adobe Spark. So let me pull the one up that I did. So I knew how to do a new one, but I was having a hard time. Like, I saw the effects you could put in there like the sounds you could put in the background, like the ones that are already there. But I was wondering if you can if I can pull from other sources except for what's already there. You know what I'm saying? Like they have that library that you can add from, but I want to pull from the internet or
music or photos.
Music.
You can do both. They have to be in an MP4 format. So most of the time, if you download music, I don't know if you have Apple Music or Amazon, you can download from there. You just have to convert them to an MP4 format, and then you can upload them to Adobe Spark. And then same thing for pictures. You can either search from the internet, save them and upload them, or
yes, all you could do that.
Or if you have some already on your desktop that you want to use, you can use those too.
So the pictures I saw was just the music. So here. So here's my Adobe Spark, and then this was the music that I wanted. So if we could put that music on that Adobe Spark.
And it looks like this is already an MP4. So all you have to do is when you click over here to add the music, all you have to do is search your downloads that you already have on your computer.
Okay.
And it'll appear. See, look. If you click. If you scroll down here, see it shows up right there. And it's already an MP4 format.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. When do you want to try to implement this practice?
So why don't we say that I work on my own example this week so that I can put it in the lesson plans for next week, and maybe I could model the lesson for you without the students, let's say Friday.
Okay.
And then that way I have this week worth of evenings to get the example done. Then I can come back to you, model it for you on Friday to make sure any kind of feedback or tweaks we need to make to the lesson can be done before then I go do it with the kids. Monday, we'll introduce it, and then pass the rubric out like we talked about. And then they'll do that quick try, let's say Monday, Tuesday in centers, on a 2-day rotation. And, the hot seat we'll still do at the end of the day each day.
I think that's a good idea, and definitely giving yourself time over the weekend to tweak it and make it, how you want it to look. I think that's a really good idea. Did you want me to come in with that lesson when you do it with the kids, just to kind of assist with the technology aspect of it, or?
So maybe since I'm modeling it for you without the kids already, as long as that goes well on Friday, we can kind of play it by ear. But if it's not going well or there's big tweaks we need to make, then maybe we need to do more of a co-teaching thing next week. But if it goes well, then maybe you could just be kind of available on call. If I need you, I can send somebody to come get you.
Yeah, that'll work just fine.